Hello, and welcome. Welcome to the Fit Over 40 Challenge Show, the number one health and fitness show for those of us in the club. Yes, that's right, the 40 and Over Club. My name is Coach Dave, and I am going to be your coach and host today. And today's show episode, the title I'm calling it is Eating for Fat Loss. Now, before we go ahead and dive into today's show, I just wanted to invite you to my free Facebook group. It's called allabouthealthandfitness.com. If you're not already a part of it, I'd love for you to join. It's just a great group of people that are in there trying to help others stay accountable, keep them motivated, as well as I'm in there coaching, providing tips and resources to help you with your fitness and health goals. So again, allabouthealthandfitness.com. Come over and join us and just be part of the tribe. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And as I said earlier, that the title is Eating for Fat Loss. Now, we're getting to that point in the year where we're getting closer to the new year, and that's when everybody starts setting goals, setting resolutions, and really start focusing on their health. So I thought this would be perfect to start with. Now, I'm sure you're probably aware by now that eating clean has nothing to do with washing your food, and it has everything to do with eating in a way that promotes fat loss. Now, while it may sound simple enough, it's pretty challenging to stick with a clean eating plan, as you probably have already encountered that throughout the years. So I guess if it was easy, like I said, everybody would be doing it and they'd feel confident about their body. Now, what is the secret to long-term clean eating success? I'm going to give you 4 tips, I guess, if you want to say that, to make sure or to help ensure that you are eating clean and promoting or eating for fat loss, okay? So, eating for fat loss, secret number 1, keep it balanced. I am a huge fan of balance, okay? That's a word that I always preach to my clients. And there's many fat loss strategies that encourage eating only from one category of food. You know, you've heard the grapefruit diet, the salad diet, or you're just eating protein like chicken breast, or maybe you're just eating soups. I don't know if they have a soup diet, but I'm sure probably somebody's come up with that. And while all these foods, may promote fat loss and they reduce overall calorie intake, this type of eating sets you up to fail. Because we just can't maintain doing one thing for very long. It's just, and you shouldn't do it, okay? No one sticks with highly restrictive one-food diets for very long. I mean, if you do, then you're the exception, okay? Now, my wife will tell you that I can eat a turkey sandwich every day, and we can get into the nitty-gritty of whether or not that's healthy or not for me, but besides the point, it's just very difficult to be restrictive. I'm not a psychologist, but I think that part of it is psychological. When you start telling yourself that you can't eat other things and you can only eat this one thing, you want to eat those other things even more, okay? So to make your clean eating plan last, you've got to keep your diet balanced with a healthy range of healthy foods and real foods. So each meal, for instance, I always will try to have some sort of carbohydrate. Now, again, sometimes there will be, if you want to call them starchy carbs or carbs that, have, like pasta and rice, but I try to, or bread, but I try to have vegetables with them. I always try to have a protein source with it. And I also want to have good fats in my diet. So I try to have all my meals have that in there. Now, do I always do that? No, but I try to stay balanced in it. I don't restrict myself to one thing. Okay, so that is secret number 1. Secret number 2, or eat for fat loss number 2, is don't put a label on it. I mean, how many times have you kind of uttered the words, "I'm on a diet." I mean, just saying that puts one in a mood to cheat on that said diet. Again, that's that psychological aspect. I think I've said this in a previous podcast, but sitting in on a conference, and one of the guys, he's a coach, nutritionist, exercise physiologist, said that he was working with a client and had him track his food, and the client put down that he was eating Oreos. And he said, you can't, you shouldn't be eating those. And he said, yeah, I know, I blew it. He goes, I'm not going to, I'm not going to eat anymore. I've told myself I'm not having any Oreos. Well, the next time they met and he brought his food diary, his journal, the guy had eaten 20 Oreos. And he said to him, I thought you said you weren't going to eat. He goes, I know. I just can't help it. I just, I told myself I'm not going to have any, and I find myself just binge eating them. And so this kind of gets to that point where, it's psychological, right? He keeps saying to himself, no, I can't eat them. So the presenter told us that he told his client, he said, listen, he goes, here's what I want you to do. You can have 2 Oreos. And, just set that. You can have 2 Oreos or whatever. I don't know, maybe 2 wasn't the number, but it was something like that. 2 or 3. So the next time they met, he handed him the log, and there was no Oreos on and there. He's like, well, you didn't eat them. He goes, I know. I figured I could have them, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to ruin it. So I guess the point I'm getting to you is that when you kind of get to that point where you say you're on a diet or you restrict yourself, you kind of get to that point where you say, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and eat it anyway. So it's that psychological thing. So if eating clean means you're on a diet, then you're not going to be committed enough to make it a way of life. And that's really what you want. You want it to become a lifestyle, okay? Because true fat loss, or the success with true fat loss, comes from when eating clean is just second nature. It's just part of it. It's ingrained in you, okay? And it's not a temporarily or imposed sentence. I guarantee you, if you tell yourself, no, I can't have it, you're going to want it. That's just the way we are. It's just the way we're programmed. All right, so eat for fat loss number 3 is have patience. I mean, this one right here is probably key. And I get it. I've been in this industry for a long time, and typically when I have people that come to me, they've made up their mind that they want to change, but since they made up that mind, they want it to happen now. And I mean, of course, it would be great that if a week of clean eating could erase a decade worth of indulgences, and poor eating. But you got to remember, you didn't get that gain. You didn't gain all that weight, that fat in just a week. So why do you think you're going to lose it in a week? And I know we want it now. We are in an instant society. I mean, the other day I was just talking with my kids about, how great they have it that, we're driving down the road and they hear a song. They're like, oh, I want to download that song on iTunes. I mean, for those of us that are in the club, if you really are in the club, you remember you'd be sitting at the radio on the record. You have play, record, pause, and then you go through the top 40 hoping to get the song, and you had to hit the pause button so you start recording. I mean, we had to wait. Now it's just bam, it's instant. And so here's the thing. You need to acknowledge that each and every small victory along the way to your long-term goal, okay? Notice each pound, each inch, each pant size, okay? Make the small things add up. Then it will come. The bigger thing, it's like that tipping point. Malcolm Gladwell's book, if you've read it, all of a sudden, bam, the accomplishments build on one another, and then you hit and you reach that ultimate goal. And then from there, it's like clear sailing. Now, of course, you'll probably get to another plateau at some point, but just remember that big changes, take consistent long-term effort, and that's where patience really comes into play. And I know that's something that we don't have a lot of, especially in this day and age. But patience is critical and key to long-term fat loss. Okay, so the final step number 4 secret for Eat for Fat Loss is have a plan. And this is a really important step as well. Now, as I mentioned before, I think patience is critical, but this right here, you've got to have a plan, because without it, you're going to flounder around without direction. And who knows, you might even likely find yourself kind of staring into the bottom of a bowl of ice cream. Okay? Spend time sitting down, writing out what you want to accomplish. Spend time, okay, and make sure that you really kind of have a plan of how you're going to approach your eating. And what I mean by this is that on Sunday, if you haven't already kind of come up with what you're going to eat for the week, write it down and then go out and grocery shop and plan, okay? Know what foods you want to eat that week. Don't go randomly into the grocery store and just start picking things up every day, because that's what a lot of people do. They have no idea what they're going to eat at 5 o'clock, and bam, they go in there, they're starving, they don't have time, they just buy whatever, quick, simple, easy, processed, throw it in the microwave. You've got to have that plan, okay? Plan out your week. Again, I've said this before, that if you decide to change, like we had something come up this week with our family. I had an event, and so my wife's like, hey, we're just going to order pizza. That's fine. There's no big deal. But if you do that every day, all the time, that's the problem. Have the plan in place, okay? Again, if you need help with that, let me know, okay? I help clients all the time put together eating plans, okay? There's lots of stuff out there, okay? You no reason that you can't plan ahead. So those are really the 4 tips, okay? The 4 fat loss secrets for eating for fat loss secrets, whatever you want to call it. Again, you've got to make that decision. You've got to come to that decision. It's time to change, and then put those into place, okay? Because, again, if you just kind of randomly go at this without any sort of intent, it's going to be really difficult for you to get to those goals that you want and to see that long-term change. Again, this is all about having patience and being balanced and having a plan. And don't put a label on it. Don't say ever again, I'm going on a diet. Okay? This is a lifestyle. This is something you are going to do for the rest of your life. And if you need me, I'm here for you. Reach out to me. Come on into the Facebook, allabouthealthandfitness.com. Love to have you in there. And just get started. If you need help, again, I'm there for you. So without further, we're going to wrap this up. And I hope this was beneficial to you. If it was, I'd love for you to share and comment on it and pass it along to somebody who you think might benefit from it. Okay, I'm signing off. This is Coach Dave.